Nex Vocabulary English Exam by Ana Gonzalez. Vocabulary 1. Abrasions. Etymology. From Latin abrasio, from away, plus radere, to scrape. Definition. The process of scraping or wearing something away, typically referring to a surface injury. 2. Abstemious. Etymology. From Latin abstemious, from away from, plus timitum, strong drink. Definition, showing restraint or moderation, especially with food and drink. 3. Accolade. Etymology. From French accolade, derived from Latin ad, 2, plus column, neck, referring to the ceremonial gesture of knighthood. Definition, an expression of praise or an award for achievement. 4. Adamant. Etymology. From Greek adamas, unconquerable, hard steel or diamond, via Latin adamantum. Definition, refusing to change one's mind, firm and resolute. 5. Adversaries. Etymology. From Latin adversarius, from adversus, turned against. Definition, people or entities in opposition, enemies or opponents. 6. Affinity. Etymology. From Latin affinitas, from affinis, connected to. Definition, a natural liking or connection to someone or something. 7. Agrarian. Etymology. From Latin agrarius, from ager, field, land. Definition, related to agriculture, farming, or rural matters. 8. Allay. Etymology. From Old English alec to lay down, diminish. Definition, to reduce intensity, alleviate, or pacify. 9. Aloof. Etymology. From Middle English loof, windward direction, with a prefix suggesting at a distance. Definition, emotionally distant or uninvolved. 10. Altruist. Etymology. From French altruism, coined by philosopher Auguste Comte, derived from Latin alter, other. Definition, a person who is selflessly concerned for the well-being of others. Story using the words. In a quiet agrarian village, an altruist named Clara was renowned for her efforts to allay the hardships of others. One day, Clara faced a group of adversaries who doubted her motives, claiming she only sought an accolade for her deeds. Unshaken and adamant, she continued her work, offering her affinity for those who lived in aloof isolation. She tended to their abrasions, both physical and emotional, and promoted an abstemious lifestyle to sustain their health. Eventually, even her harshest critics were won over by her genuine kindness. 11. Ambiguous. Etymology. From Latin ambiguous, from ambi. Both, plus agere, to drive, lead. Definition, open to more than one interpretation, unclear, or having a double meaning. 12. Amiable. Etymology. From Latin amicabilis, friendly, from amicus, friend. Definition, having a friendly and pleasant manner. 13. Anachronism. Etymology. From Greek ana, against, pouos, chronos, time. Definition, something or someone placed in the wrong historical period. 14. Animosity. Etymology. From Latin animositas, from animus, spirit, mind. Definition, a strong feeling of hostility or resentment. 15. Antediluvian. Etymology. From Latin ante, before, plus diluvium, flood. Definition, extremely old or outdated, referring to the period before the biblical flood. 16. Antithesis. Etymology. From Greek anti, against, pieu, tithenai, to set, place. Definition, a person or thing that is the direct opposite of someone or something else. 17. Apathy. Etymology. From Greek a, without, plus pathos, feeling, emotion. Definition. A lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. 18. Apex. Etymology. From Latin apex, summit, peak. Definition. The highest point or peak of something. 19. Ascetic. Etymology. From Greek ascetikos, from ascetes, monk, hermit. Definition. Practicing severe self-discipline and abstention from indulgence. 20. Bauble. Etymology. From Old French bauble, meaning toy or trinket. Definition. A small, showy ornament or trinket, often of little value. Story using the words. In a dusty old shop full of baubles, an amiable shopkeeper named Fred welcomed customers with a smile. One day, he discovered an anachronism, a smartphone embedded in an antediluvian chest. The ambiguity of how it got there puzzled him. Fred, who avoided apathy and loved solving mysteries, set out to uncover the truth. Along the way, he encountered animosity from a rival historian who claimed Fred was out of his depth. This historian, Fred's Antithesis, believed the chest's discovery marked the apex of his own career. However, Fred's ascetic lifestyle and focus on the truth helped him succeed. By the end, the mystery united them in friendship, proving the chest's contents were simply a hoax, a clever trick involving modern baubles. 21. Bedlam. Etymology. From Middle English Bethlem, referring to St. Mary of Bethlehem, a hospital in London that became synonymous with chaos due to its use as an asylum. Definition. A scene of uproar and confusion. 22. Biennial. Etymology. From Latin bi, 2, plus annus, year. Definition. Occurring every 2 years. 23. Bigot. Etymology. Likely from Old French bigot, originally a derogatory term for someone overly pious or hypocritical. Definition. A person who is intolerant toward those holding different opinions. 24. Bogus. Etymology. First used in the United States in the early 19th century, possibly derived from bogey, a machine used to make counterfeit money. Definition. Fake or not genuine. 25. Brazen. Etymology. From Old English brazen, made of brass. Definition. Bold and without shame. 26. Cacophonous. Etymology. From Greek cacophonous, from kakos, bad. Plus phone, voice, sound. Definition. Involving harsh, discordant sounds. 27. Calamity. Etymology. From Latin calamitas, damage, disaster. Definition. A sudden event causing great and often sudden damage or distress. A disaster. 28. Callous. Etymology. From Latin callosus, thick-skinned. Definition. Showing or having an insensitive and cruel disregard for others. 29. Callow. Etymology. From Old English callow, bare, bald. Later used metaphorically for immature or inexperienced people. Definition. Inexperienced and immature. 30. Candid. Etymology. From Latin candidus, white, pure. Metaphorically meaning unbiased or straightforward. Definition. Truthful and straightforward, frank. Story using the words. The town square descended into bedlam when a bogus news article claimed the mayor had embezzled funds. A bigot in the crowd shouted inflammatory remarks, only adding to the chaos. Amid the cacophonous protests, a candid reporter stepped forward to uncover the truth. She discovered that the story had been planted by a callow rival, eager to tarnish the mayor's reputation. Despite the brazen lies, the mayor handled the situation calmly, addressing the town with callous disregard for his accusers. When the truth came to light, the town realized the calamity had been entirely avoidable. By the time the Biennial town festival arrived, harmony had been restored. 31. Canter, etymology. From the shortened form of Canterbury Gallop, referring to the smooth pace at which pilgrims rode to Canterbury in England. Definition: a smooth, easy pace, particularly of a horse. 32. Castes. Etymology. From Portuguese casta, race, lineage, derived from Latin castus, pure, chaste. Definition: social classes or groups that are rigidly separated by hereditary or traditional distinctions. 33. Caterwauling. Etymology. From Middle English cater, a cat, plus wall, to howl. Definition: a shrill howling or wailing noise, often associated with cats or discordant sounds. 34. Caustic. Etymology. From Greek kaustikos, from kaustos, burned. From cayenne, to burn. Definition: able to burn or corrode by chemical action, sarcastic in a scathing and bitter way. 35. Celestial. Etymology. From Latin caelestis, from caelum, heaven, sky. Definition: relating to the sky or outer space, heavenly. 36. Chaste. Etymology. From Latin castus, pure, spotless. Definition: abstaining from extramarital or all sexual relations, pure or innocent in style or manner. 37. Commonplace. Etymology. From Latin communis, common, plus place. Definition: ordinary or unremarkable, not unusual. 38. Contiguous. Etymology. From Latin contiguous, touching. From contingere, to touch, border on. Definition: sharing a common border, next to or adjacent. 39. Convalescence. Etymology. From Latin convalescere, from calm, altogether, plus valescere, to grow strong. Definition: the gradual recovery of health after an illness or medical treatment. 40. Conversant. Etymology. From Latin conversare, to associate with, from con, together, plus versare, to turn, to dwell. Definition: familiar with or knowledgeable about something, story using the words. In the sprawling hills, a celestial dawn broke over the contiguous fields where farmers toiled according to their castes. Nearby, a horse trotted at a canter, ridden by a chaste monk on his way to the village. However, the peace was shattered by the caterwauling of villagers arguing over a commonplace issue: who owned the largest pumpkin. The monk, known for his conversant manner in settling disputes, arrived just as one villager hurled a caustic remark. He calmly reminded them that their convalescence from last year's drought had been a collective effort, and they should celebrate unity rather than quarrel. Harmony was restored, and the monk continued on his way. 41. Convivial. Etymology. From Latin convivium, a feast, from con, together, plus vivere, to live. Definition: friendly, lively, and enjoyable, relating to feasting or socializing. 42. Cowardly. Etymology. From Old French court, from co, tail, plus ard, pejorative suffix, metaphorically meaning to turn tail in fear. Definition: lacking courage, fearful or timid. 43. Cryptic. Etymology. From Greek kryptikos, from kryptos, hidden, concealed. Definition: having a meaning that is mysterious or obscure. 44. Damper. Etymology. From Middle English damp, to suffocate, extinguish. Definition: something that restrains or depresses, a device to reduce vibrations or regulate airflow. 45. Deference. Etymology. From French déférence, from Latin defer, to carry down, submit. Definition: humble submission and respect. 46. Demure. Etymology. From Anglo-Norman French demure, well-mannered, from Old French demeurer, to remain. Definition: reserved, modest, and shy. 47. Derisive. Etymology. From Latin derisus, from deridere, to laugh at mock. From de, down, plus ridere, to laugh. Definition. Expressing contempt or ridicule. 48. Disdainful. Etymology. From Latin dignari, to deem worthy, with the prefix dis, indicating lack of. Definition. Showing contempt or lack of respect. 49. Dissident. Etymology. From Latin dissidere, to sit apart. From dis, apart, plus sedere, to sit. Definition. A person who opposes official policy or established authority. 50. Dogged. Etymology. From the dog's persistent nature, first recorded in 1779. Definition. Having or showing tenacity and grim persistence. Story using the words. The convivial atmosphere at the town's feast was suddenly disrupted when a dissident stood up to criticize the mayor's policies. His cryptic remarks left the crowd puzzled, and a cowardly council member tried to slip away unnoticed. A derisive laugh echoed from the back of the room, further adding to the tension. The mayor, with a demure smile, tried to address the crowd, but a few disdainful citizens refused to listen. Despite the damper on the evening, the dogged mayor calmly appealed for deference, promising to meet with the dissident to discuss his concerns in private. The feast resumed, though the memory of the incident lingered. 51. Dogmatic. Etymology. From Greek dogmatikos, from dogma, opinion, belief. Definition. Inclined to lay down principles as incontrovertibly true, without consideration of evidence or others' opinions. 52. Domicile. Etymology. From Latin domicilium, dwelling, home. From domus, house. Definition. A place of residence, a home. 53. Edible. Etymology. From Latin edibilis, from edere, to eat. Definition. Fit or suitable for consumption. 54. Edicts. Etymology. From Latin edictum, proclamation, decree. From edicare, to declare. Definition. Official orders or proclamations issued by a person in authority. 55. Illicit. Etymology. From Latin elicere, from out, plus lacere, to entice. Definition. To draw out or bring forth. A response, reaction, or fact. 56. Empirically. Etymology. From Greek empirikos, experienced. From empiria, experience. Definition. Based on observation or experience, rather than theory or pure logic. 57. Enticements. Etymology. From Old French inticier, to incite, from Vulgar Latin intitiare. Definition. Something used to attract or tempt. Allure. 58. Epilogue. Etymology. From Greek epilogos, from epi, upon, plus logos. Word, speech. Definition. A concluding section or speech in a book, play, or other work. 59. Eroded. Etymology. From Latin erodere, from out, plus rodere, to gnaw. Definition. Gradually worn away or diminished. 60. Essence. Etymology. From Latin essentia, being, essence. From esse, to be. Definition. The intrinsic nature or indispensable quality of something that determines its character. Story using the words. In the small village of Elderswood, the domiciles were nestled along a river that had slowly eroded its banks over centuries. The mayor issued edicts forbidding fishing during the spawning season to protect the river's essence. However, a dogmatic old fisherman, convinced of his right to fish, ignored the warnings. His actions elicited anger from the townsfolk, who claimed he was undoing their conservation efforts. The mayor, relying on empirically collected data about declining fish stocks, presented evidence to sway the old man's stubbornness. In the end, the mayor's gentle enticements, a promise of free fish during market days, won the fishermen over. The epilogue to this tale was written in the local newspaper, celebrating the unity of the townsfolk in protecting their beloved river. 61. Expiate. Etymology. From Latin expiatus, from ex, out, plus piare, to appease, to atone. Definition. To atone for guilt or sin. 62. Explicit. Etymology. From Latin explicitus, unfolded clear. From explicare, to unfold. Definition. Stated clearly and in detail, leaving no room for confusion or doubt. 63. Fallow. Etymology. From Old English fialga, plowland left untilled, related to Germanic falga, harrow. Definition. Plowed, but left unsown to restore fertility, inactive, or unproductive. 64. Falter. Etymology. Of uncertain origin, possibly from Old Norse faltrask, to be burdened or entangled. Definition. To lose strength or momentum, to hesitate or waver. 65. Fastidious. Etymology. From Latin fastidiosus, disdainful. From fastidium, loathing, disgust. Definition. Very attentive to detail, difficult to please. 66. Flaccid. Etymology. From Latin flaccidus, from flaccus, flabby, weak. Definition. Soft, weak, or lacking firmness. 67. Flippant. Etymology. Possibly from flip, originally meaning nimble in talk or action. Definition. Lacking seriousness or respect. 68. Florid. Etymology. From Latin floridus, flowery. From flos, flower. Definition. Having a red or flushed complexion, excessively intricate or elaborate. 69. Flux. Etymology. From Latin fluxus, flowing, from fluere, to flow. Definition. Continuous movement or change. 70. Furtive. Etymology. From Latin furtivus, stolen, from furtum, theft. Definition. Attempting to avoid notice or attention, typically because of guilt or secrecy. Story using the words. The monastery stood in the midst of fallow fields, a place where monks sought to expiate their past sins through hard labor and prayer. Brother Thomas, however, was not immune to the falter of human weakness. His fastidious nature often led him to criticize others, though he would furtively hide his own mistakes. One day, an explicit letter arrived, revealing that the crops had failed due to a flaccid irrigation system that had gone unnoticed. The florid excuses from Brother Paul, responsible for maintenance, only added to the tension. Yet, the monk's faith held steady in the flux of uncertainty. Despite a flippant remark from a novice about divine punishment, they worked together to repair the system, restoring the fields and their community's hope. 71. Gamut. Etymology. From medieval Latin gamma ut, referring to the entire musical scale, with gamma being the lowest note. Definition. The complete range or scope of something. 72. Garrulous. Etymology. From Latin garrulus, talkative, from garrere, to chatter. Definition. Excessively talkative, especially on trivial matters. 73. Gauntlet. Etymology. From Old French gantelet, a small glove, later associated with a medieval glove used in challenges. Definition. A glove worn in armor, figuratively, a challenge or ordeal. 74. Jibe. Etymology. Possibly from Old French gabber, to handle roughly. Definition. A taunt or sarcastic remark. 75. Guile. Etymology. From Old French guile, deceit, from Germanic origins. Definition. sly or cunning intelligence. 76. Gullible. Etymology. From the word gull, a person who is easily tricked, possibly of unknown origin but first recorded in the 18th century. Definition: easily deceived or tricked. 77. Haughty. Etymology. From Middle English haut, an alteration of haut, high. From Old French, from Latin altus, high. Definition: arrogantly superior and disdainful. 78. Heresy. Etymology. From Greek heresis, choice, later used to mean a school of thought, and then unorthodox opinion. Definition: a belief or opinion contrary to orthodox doctrine, especially in religion. 79. Hoodwinked. Etymology. From hood, to cover, plus wink, to close the eyes, meaning to blindfold, later figuratively to deceive. Definition: to deceive or trick. 80. Illicit. Etymology. From Latin illicitius, not allowed, from in, not, plus, licitus, lawful. Definition: forbidden by law, rules, or custom. Story using the words. As the small theater prepared for its annual play, the director ran the gamut of emotions, from excitement to frustration. The garrulous actor playing the lead kept derailing rehearsals with stories of his glory days. Meanwhile, a young actress struggled to take up the gauntlet of performing her first major role, enduring constant jibes from her peers. The haughty critic who attended dress rehearsals seemed determined to find fault, though he was later hoodwinked by the subtle plot twist in the performance. The play revolved around a cunning thief who used his guile to escape punishment for illicit activities. Despite whispers of heresy about the unconventional script, the show concluded with a standing ovation, proving even the most gullible critic wrong. 81. Impassionate. Etymology. From Latin in, into, plus passio, suffering, feeling. Related to passion. Definition: filled with or showing great emotion or passion. 82. Impediment. Etymology. From Latin impedimentum, from impedire, to shackle the feet, from in, into, piece, foot. Definition: a hindrance or obstruction in doing something. 83. Impertinent. Etymology. From Latin impertinens, not pertaining, from in, not, plus, pertinens, pertaining. Definition: not showing proper respect, rude. 84. Impervious. Etymology. From Latin impervious, from in, not, plus, pervious, letting through. Definition: not allowing fluid to pass through, unable to be affected. 85. Impetuous. Etymology. From Latin impetuosus, from impetus, attack, rapid motion. Definition: acting or done quickly and without thought or care. 86. Inalienable. Etymology. From Latin inalienabilis, from in, not, plus alienare, to transfer, make foreign. Definition: unable to be taken away or given away. 87. Incongruous. Etymology. From Latin incongruous, from in, not, plus congruous, agreeable, suitable. Definition: not in harmony or keeping with the surroundings or other aspects. 88. Incredulous. Etymology. From Latin incredulus, from in, not, plus credulous, believing. Definition: unwilling or unable to believe something. 89. Increment. Etymology. From Latin incrementum, from increscere, to increase. Definition: an increase or addition, especially one of a series on a fixed scale. 90. Incumbent. Etymology. From Latin incumbens, from incumbere, to lie upon, from in, on, plus cumbere, to lie. Definition: necessary as a duty or responsibility. Also, someone currently holding an office. Story using the words. The impassionate speaker took the stage, determined to inspire change despite the impediments he faced. His words were directed at an impertinent heckler who tried to disrupt the event, but the speaker remained impervious to the taunts. He warned against impetuous decisions that could jeopardize their inalienable rights and spoke of an incongruous policy proposal that had caused division. Many in the audience were incredulous, unsure if his vision was achievable, but the speaker's incremental plan gained their trust. The incumbent mayor, sitting in the crowd, listened with a mix of admiration and unease, knowing the next election might not be as certain as he once believed. 91. Indelible. Etymology: from Latin indelibilis, from in, not, plus delere, to delete, destroy. Definition: making marks that cannot be removed. Unforgettable. 92. Indigent. Etymology: from Latin indigens, needing, lacking, from indigere, to lack. Definition: poor or needy. 93. Indolent. Etymology: from Latin indolens, from in, not, plus dolens, suffering, grieving. Definition: wanting to avoid activity or exertion, lazy. 94. Indomitable. Etymology: from Latin indomitabilis, from in, not, plus domitare, to tame. Definition: impossible to subdue or defeat. 95. Infer. Etymology: from Latin inferre, from in, into, plus ferre, to bring, carry. Definition: to deduce or conclude information from evidence rather than explicit statements. 96. Intemperate. Etymology: from Latin intemperatus, from in, not, tis temperare, to moderate. Definition: having or showing a lack of self-control, excessive. 97. Interloper. Etymology: from Dutch interloper, unauthorized trader, from enter, to interpose, plus lopen, to run. Definition: a person who becomes involved in a situation where they are not wanted or are considered not to belong. 98. Irrepressible. Etymology: from Latin irrepressibilis, from in, not, plus reprimere, to restrain. Definition: not able to be controlled or restrained. 99. Itinerant. Etymology: from Latin itinerary, to travel, from iter, journey. Definition: traveling from place to place, especially for work. 100. Knoll. Etymology: from Old English knoll, hilltop, summit. Definition: a small hill or mound. Story using the words. In the shadow of a grassy knoll, a community of indigent travelers set up camp. Among them was an indolent boy who preferred lounging in the sun to helping with chores. However, their leader, a woman of indomitable spirit, inspired everyone to work together for survival. When a wealthy landowner approached and accused them of being interlopers, the leader's irrepressible charm diffused the tension. She explained how they could infer from the landowner's fields that he had more than enough to share. Despite his intemperate attitude, he allowed them to stay. The itinerant group etched an indelible memory on the landowner's heart as they shared stories around a fire, reminding him of life's simple joys. 101. Laudable. Etymology: from Latin laudabilis, from laudare, to praise. Definition: deserving praise and commendation. 102. Limbo. Etymology: from Latin limbus, edge, border, later used to refer to a state of neglect or transition. Definition: an uncertain or undecided state. In religious terms, a place between heaven and hell. 103. Ludicrous. Etymology. From Latin ludicrous, playful, from ludere, to play. Definition. So foolish, unreasonable, or out of place as to be amusing. 104. Lurid. Etymology. From Latin luridus, pale yellow, ghastly. Definition. Gruesome or shocking, vividly sensational. 105. Malingering. Etymology. From French malingre, sickly, possibly derived from Old French mal, bad, pou tu gris, will. Definition. Pretending to be ill or injured to avoid work or responsibility. 106. Menial. Etymology. From Anglo-Norman French, menial, from maine, household. Definition. Relating to tasks that are lowly, humble, or lacking prestige. 107. Mercenary. Etymology. From Latin mercenarius, hired for pay, from mercies, wages. Definition. Primarily concerned with making money at the expense of ethics. A soldier hired to fight for a foreign country. 108. Mirthful. Etymology. From Old English mirth, from merge, pleasant, joyful. Definition. Full of gladness and gaiety. 109. Momentum. Etymology. From Latin momentum, movement, motion, from movere, to move. Definition. The force or speed of movement, impetus gained by a moving object. 110. Necromancy. Etymology. From Greek necromantia, from nekros, dead, plus mantia, divination. Definition. The practice of communicating with the dead, often considered magical or occult. Story using the words. The circus was a place of mirthful chaos, where clowns and acrobats gained momentum with every daring performance. However, the atmosphere turned lurid when rumors spread of a performer dabbling in necromancy. The menial workers whispered of the mercenary nature of their ringmaster, who was willing to exploit any scandal for profit. One day, a clown accused of malingering revealed his laudable dedication by performing a dangerous stunt to prove his worth. The ludicrous spectacle brought the crowd to its feet, and for a moment, the circus rose from the limbo of controversy into the spotlight once more. 111. Nomenclature. Etymology. From Latin nomenclatura, from nomen, name, plus callare, to call. Definition. A system of naming, especially in science or other disciplines. 112. Notorious. Etymology. From Latin notorious, well known, from notice, known. Definition. Famous or well known, typically for a bad reason. 113. Obdurate. Etymology. From Latin obduratus, from ob, against, plus durare, to harden. Definition. Stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or course of action. 114. Obfuscate. Etymology. From Latin obfuscare, from ob, toward, plus fuscare, to darken. Definition. To render obscure, unclear, or unintelligible. 115. Oblivious. Etymology. From Latin obliviosus, from oblivici, to forget. Definition. Unaware or not concerned about what is happening around one. 116. Obnoxious. Etymology. From Latin obnoxiosus, from ob, toward, plus, noxa, harm. Definition. Extremely unpleasant or offensive. 117. Obsequious. Etymology. From Latin obsequiosus, from obsequi, to comply, to follow. Definition. Excessively eager to please or obey. 118. Obsolescent. Etymology. From Latin obsolescens, from obsolescere, to fall into disuse. Definition. Becoming obsolete, no longer in use or fashionable. 119. Obstreperous. Etymology. From Latin obstreperus, from ob, against, plus strepere, to make noise. Definition. Noisy and difficult to control. 120. Omniscient. Etymology. From Latin omniscientia, from omnis, all, plus scientia, knowledge. Definition. Knowing everything. Story using the words. Professor Elm, known for his mastery of scientific nomenclature, was a notorious figure in the academic world. His obdurate refusal to simplify his lectures often obfuscated the material for his students, leaving them oblivious to key concepts. One obnoxious student decided to confront him, only to be met with the professor's obsequious assistant, who tried to placate the crowd. The assistant's obsolescent teaching aids, a set of chalkboards, hardly helped the situation. Eventually, an obstreperous debate broke out, forcing the professor to intervene with his usual air of omniscient authority. Despite the chaos, a few determined students left with a better understanding and a newfound respect for the complexity of science. 121. Omnivore. Etymology. From Latin omnivorus, from omnis, all, plus vorare, to devour. Definition. An animal or person that eats both plants and animals. 122. Parler. Etymology. From French parler, to speak, from Latin parabolare, to talk. Definition. A discussion or conference, especially between enemies under a truce to discuss terms. 123. Partisan. Etymology. From Italian partigiano, from partire, to divide, to share. Definition. A strong supporter of a cause or group, often showing bias. Also, a member of an armed group formed to fight secretly against an occupying force. 124. Pathos. Etymology. From Greek pathos, suffering, emotion. Definition. A quality that evokes etymology. From French penchant, inclination, leaning. From pencher, to lean. Definition. A strong liking or tendency toward something. 126. Pensive. Etymology. From French pensif, from Latin pensare, to weigh, to ponder. Definition. Engaged in deep or serious thought. 127. Pernicious. Etymology. From Latin perniciosus, from pernicies, destruction. From thoroughly, pos necar, to kill. Definition. Having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. 128. Perverse. Etymology. From Latin perversus, turned the wrong way. From pervertere, to turn around. Definition. Showing a deliberate and obstinate desire to behave unreasonably or inappropriately. 129. Petty. Etymology. From Old French petite, small. Definition. Of little importance, trivial or minor. 130. Placate. Etymology. From Latin placer, to calm, to soothe. Definition. To make someone less angry or hostile. Story using the words. In the dense forest, an omnivore bear wandered into a clearing where a heated parley was taking place between two warring tribes. Each partisan group had a penchant for aggression, but the presence of the majestic animal brought a momentary truce. The village elder, a pensive figure, used the bear's arrival to invoke pathos in his speech, reminding both sides of the delicate balance of nature. However, a pernicious rumor of betrayal threatened to unravel the peace. One tribe accused the other of petty grievances, while a perverse warrior refused to let go of his anger. The elder worked tirelessly to placate the factions, ensuring that the fragile truce held long enough for both groups to see reason. 131. Pliable. Etymology. From Middle English, from Old French plier, to bend. From Latin plicer, to fold. Definition. Easily bent or flexible, easily influenced. 132. Powerless. Etymology. From Middle English power, ability, might. Plus, less, without. Definition: lacking strength or ability to act, helpless. 133. Praiseworthy. Etymology: from Middle English praiseworthy, from praise, praise, plus worthy, worthy. Definition: deserving of praise or admiration. 134. Presumptuous. Etymology: from Latin praesumptuosus, from praesumere, to take beforehand. From pre, before, plus sumere, to take. Definition: failing to observe the limits of what is permitted or appropriate, overly bold or arrogant. 135. Prolific. Etymology: from medieval Latin prolificus, from proles, offspring, plus facere, to make. Definition: producing much fruit, offspring, or work, highly productive. 136. Prologue. Etymology: from Greek prologos, from pro, before, plus logos, word, speech. Definition: an introductory section of a literary or dramatic work. 137. Purport. Etymology: from Old French purporter, from per, forth, plus porter, to carry. Definition: the meaning or substance of something, to appear or claim to be or do something. 138. Quiescent. Etymology: from Latin quiescens, from quiescere, to rest, be quiet. Definition: in a state of inactivity or dormancy. 139. Quixotic. Etymology: from the character Don Quixote in Cervantes' novel, known for his idealistic and impractical pursuits. Definition: extremely idealistic, unrealistic, and impractical. 140. Raconteur. Etymology: from French raconteur, from raconter, to recount, to tell. Definition: a person who tells anecdotes in a skillful and entertaining way. Story using the words. In a quiescent village nestled in the mountains, a raconteur entertained the townsfolk with tales of daring heroes and quixotic adventures. He told the prologue of a brave knight who, despite being powerless against a dragon, showed praiseworthy courage. The knight's presumptuous belief that he could win with sheer determination became the heart of the story. The dragon, surprisingly pliable to persuasion, agreed to spare the villagers in exchange for a promise of peace. The prolific storyteller ended his tale with the purport that even the mightiest foes can be defeated with diplomacy. As the villagers clapped, their hearts were filled with hope and admiration for both the knight and the raconteur. 141. Rapacious. Etymology: from Latin rapax, from rapere, to seize. Definition: aggressively greedy or grasping. 142. Ravenous. Etymology: from Old French ravine, from ravine, violent rush, robbery. From Latin rapina, plunder. Definition: extremely hungry, voracious. 143. Recalcitrant. Etymology: from Latin recalcitrantem, from re, back, plus calcitrare, to kick, from calx, heel. Definition: stubbornly resistant to authority or control. 144. Recondite. Etymology: from Latin reconditus, from re, again, plus, condere, to store. Definition: little known or difficult to understand. Obscure. 145. Remission. Etymology: from Latin remissio, from remittere, to send back, to relax. Definition: a reduction or disappearance of symptoms. Forgiveness or pardon. 146. Reprimand. Etymology: from Latin reprimenda, from reprimere, to repress. Definition: a formal expression of disapproval. 147. Reproved. Etymology: from Latin reprobare, from re, Again, plus probare, to test, prove. Definition: scolded or corrected, typically in a gentle or constructive way. 148. Reticulated. Etymology: from Latin reticulatus, from reticulum, a net. Definition: constructed or arranged in a pattern resembling a net or network. 149. Saunter. Etymology: of uncertain origin, possibly from Middle English santrin, to muse, to wander. Definition: to walk in a slow, relaxed manner. 150. Scornful. Etymology: from Old French escarn, from Germanic scarnion, mockery. Definition: feeling or expressing contempt or derision. Story using the words. On the outskirts of a village, a rapacious merchant set up a market stall, his ravenous hunger for profit evident in his inflated prices. The recalcitrant villagers refused to buy from him, instead organizing a saunter through the marketplace to show their disdain. The merchant, known for his recondite knowledge of rare spices, tried to lure them back with an exotic aroma, but the crowd remained scornful. The village leader issued a stern reprimand, warning the merchant that his practices were unacceptable. Humbled, he reproved himself and agreed to fairer prices, hoping for remission from their collective ire. As peace returned, the merchant noticed the reticulated patterns in the market's woven baskets, appreciating their beauty for the first time. 151. Scurrilous. Etymology: from Latin scurrilus, buffoon-like, from scurra, buffoon. Definition: making or spreading scandalous claims about someone with the intention of damaging their reputation. 152. Secession. Etymology: from Latin secessionum, from secedere, to go apart, from se, apart, plus cedere, to go. Definition: the act of withdrawing formally from a membership, federation, or political body. 153. Sedulous. Etymology: from Latin sedulus, diligent, from se, without, plus dolus, trickery. Definition: showing dedication and diligence. 154. Solicitous. Etymology: from Latin solicitus, anxious, concerned, from solus, entire, plus siere, to set in motion. Definition: showing interest or concern. 155. Somber. Etymology: from French sombre, from Latin subumbrare, to shadow, from sub, under, plus umbra, shade. Definition: dark or dull in color or tone, gloomy. 156. Sorcerer. Etymology: from Old French sorcier, from Latin sortiarius, one who casts lots, from sors, lot, fate. Definition: a person who practices magic or sorcery. 157. Sparingly. Etymology: from Middle English sparingi, from Old English sparian, to refrain from harm. Definition: in a restricted or infrequent manner, economically. 158. Squalid. Etymology: from Latin squalidus, dirty, rough, from squalere, to be dirty. Definition: extremely dirty and unpleasant, often as a result of poverty or neglect. 159. Stagnant. Etymology: from Latin stagnantem, from stagnare, to stagnate, from stagnum, a standing pool of water. Definition: having no flow or current, inactive or sluggish. 160. Sudorific. Etymology: from Latin sudorificus, from sudor, sweat. Definition: causing sweating. Story using the words. In a squalid part of the kingdom, a sorcerer lived in isolation, his lair surrounded by a stagnant moat. Known for his scurrilous reputation, many claimed he used his magic to spread rumors and curses. A solicitous villager, concerned for the safety of her family, approached the somber castle cautiously. She brought a sudorific potion to ward off the effects of his spells, applying it sparingly on herself. Inside, she found the sedulous sorcerer hunched over a table, diligently crafting charms for the poor. Realizing the secession from society was his own choice to avoid misunderstandings, she vowed to share the truth, dispelling the false rumors about him. 161. Supercilious. Etymology. From Latin superciliosus, from supercilium, eyebrow, metaphorically meaning haughty or disdainful. Definition. Behaving or looking as though one thinks one is superior to others. 162. Suppurated. Etymology. From Latin suppuratus, from sub, under, plus pus, pus. Definition. To form or discharge pus. 163. Surly. Etymology. Alteration of Middle English surly, lordly, imperious, later associated with bad-tempered behavior. Definition. Bad-tempered and unfriendly. 164. Symposium. Etymology. From Greek symposium, from sin, together, plus, posis, drinking. Definition. A meeting or conference for discussion of a topic, originally a drinking party. 165. Tacit. Etymology. From Latin tacitus, from tacere, to be silent. Definition. Understood or implied without being stated. 166. Taciturn. Etymology. From Latin taciturnus, from tacitus, silent. Definition. Reserved or uncommunicative in speech, saying little. 167. Taunt. Etymology. From Middle French tant pour tant, tit for tat, implying mockery. Definition. To provoke or challenge someone with insulting remarks. 168. Terse. Etymology. From Latin tersus, polished, clean. From tergere, to wipe. Definition. Sparing in the use of words. Abrupt. 169. Tyranny. Etymology. From Latin tyrannia, from Greek tyrannos, lord, master, ruler. Definition. Cruel and oppressive government or rule. 170. Ubiquitous. Etymology. From Latin ubique, everywhere. Definition. Present, appearing, or found everywhere. Story using the words. The symposium was a grand affair, with scholars from across the land gathered to discuss the ubiquitous effects of the empire's tyranny. One supercilious lord sat at the head table, his expression mocking the more humble attendees. A taciturn monk watched quietly as others argued, his tacit disapproval clear from his crossed arms. A surly rebel stood and launched into a terse speech, accusing the lord of spreading lies. The room erupted in chaos, with voices rising and falling as attendees exchanged taunts. In the midst of it all, the monk finally spoke, his words calm and precise, diffusing the tension. The lord, stung by the monk's wisdom, felt his pride suppurated into a silent wound he could not heal. 171. Vacillated. Etymology. From Latin vacillare, to sway to and fro. Definition. To waver between different opinions or actions. To be indecisive. 172. Veracity. Etymology. From Latin veracitas, from verax, truthful, from veris, true. Definition. Conformity to facts, accuracy, truthfulness. 173. Vicissitudes. Etymology. From Latin vicissitudo, from vicissime, in turn, from vicis, change, alternation. Definition. Changes or variations, typically unpleasant, in circumstances or fortune. 174. Vitriolic. Etymology. From Latin vitriolicus, from vitriolum, sulfate of iron, literally glassy substance. Definition. Filled with bitter criticism or malice. 175. Vivacious. Etymology. From Latin vivax, from vivere, to live. Definition: attractively lively and animated. 176. Voluble. Etymology: from Latin volubilus, rolling, fluent. From volvere, to roll. Definition: speaking or spoken incessantly and fluently. 177. Wavered. Etymology: from Middle English waven, to sway, to weave. Definition: to shake with quivering motion, to become unsteady or undecided. 178. Zealots. Etymology: from Greek zelotes, zealous follower, from zelos, zeal, ardor. Definition: people who are fanatical and uncompromising in pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideals. 179. Zenith. Etymology: from Arabic samt, direction, path, through medieval Latin. Definition: the highest point or peak. In the sprawling desert, the caravan vacillated between two paths, unsure which would lead them to the zenith of their journey. Among them, a vivacious guide tried to inspire confidence with her boundless energy, but a group of zealots in the caravan insisted on taking the riskier route. The leader, known for his veracity, refused to lie about the dangers ahead, even as his voluble companion attempted to sway the crowd with persuasive arguments. The caravan's mood shifted frequently, reflecting the vicissitudes of their journey. As tempers flared, vitriolic words were exchanged, causing some to question their loyalty. But when the sun rose, they saw their destination in the distance, and their doubts wavered, replaced by a newfound determination to reach their goal. Let's create an epic story that weaves all 179 words into a cohesive narrative. It might be long, but it will be a tale to remember. Here we go. The Tale of the Resolute Villager. In a small agrarian village at the foot of a knoll, the humble folk lived simple lives, their fields alternating between productivity and fallow seasons. Among them was Clara, an altruist known for her amiable demeanor. Despite the vicissitudes of life, she faced each day with unwavering determination. However, the village was not without its troubles. One day, a sorcerer appeared, cloaked in somber robes. He claimed to possess recondite knowledge, offering charms to heal the sick and restore eroded lands. But his rapacious demands for gold left the villagers feeling indigent. Clara, concerned for her neighbors, approached the supercilious sorcerer with a pensive plan to negotiate. The villagers, however, were incredulous, fearing her efforts would lead to calamity. The sorcerer lived in a squalid tower surrounded by a stagnant moat. Clara crossed the bridge and was greeted by his obstreperous apprentice, whose scornful remarks did little to deter her. Inside, she noticed reticulated patterns on the walls, like a net of magic encasing the space. The sorcerer, seated at a table, appeared taciturn, his eyes betraying a hint of curiosity. "Why have you come?" he asked, his tone terse. Clara responded with deference, explaining that the villagers were willing to work, but could not meet his demands. The sorcerer's expression turned vitriolic as he accused them of malingering and laziness. Clara stood her ground, using explicit language to argue for fairness. Her words, though simple, carried veracity, and even the zealots among her neighbors began to trust her judgment. As negotiations began, the sorcerer's apprentice grew restless, his surly attitude making him an obdurate presence. When Clara presented a laudable proposal, offering to share the village's prolific harvest in exchange for the charms, the apprentice hurled a jibe, calling her plan ludicrous. Yet Clara remained adamant, her resolve as firm as the indomitable mountains surrounding the valley. The sorcerer, intrigued by her sedulous efforts, agreed to a parley. In a symposium of magic and logic, Clara proposed the villagers would uphold their inalienable rights while respecting the sorcerer's talents. As the discussion continued, the apprentice's flippant remarks and perverse attitude began to wane, replaced by a grudging respect for Clara's courage. Meanwhile, back in the village, rumors of Clara's meeting spread. Some scurrilous villagers accused her of betrayal, while others sang her praises. The ubiquitous whispers reached the ears of the partisan factions, leading to heated debates. Yet Clara's absence had left a quiescent calm in the usually cacophonous square. When Clara returned, her agreement with the sorcerer was met with mixed reactions. The deal required the villagers to refrain from their intemperate feasting and adopt an abstemious lifestyle to ensure their resources were shared fairly. Though some recalcitrant villagers grumbled, Clara's vivacious spirit inspired most to embrace the change. Months passed, and the village thrived. The momentum of their collective effort transformed their once callous attitudes into one of community and trust. The fields, no longer bogus promises, bloomed with vibrant crops, and the village square became a place of mirthful gatherings. Clara's actions left an indelible mark on their hearts. In the end, the sorcerer, now more placate, shared his magical essence with the village, ensuring prosperity for generations. His obsolescent tower became a place of learning, where cryptic texts were studied and epilogues of hope were written. And thus, Clara's tale became a story for all, a story of resolve, fairness, and the power of a single voice to unite even the most divided of hearts. How's that for a legendary tale? 179. Words completed. Now, let's do the layman's version of the brave villager. The story of the brave villager. In a small farming village, at the foot of a small hill, the humble folk lived simple lives, their fields alternating between productivity and unused seasons. Among them was Clara, a selfless woman known for her friendly demeanor. Despite the ups and downs of life, she faced each day with unwavering determination. However, the village was not without its troubles. One day, a wizard appeared, cloaked in dark robes. He claimed to possess hidden knowledge, offering charms to heal the sick and restore worn-down lands, but his greedy demands for gold left the villagers feeling poor. Clara, concerned for her neighbors, approached the arrogant wizard with a thoughtful plan to negotiate. The villagers, however, were doubtful, fearing her efforts would lead to disaster. The wizard lived in a dirty tower surrounded by a still moat. Clara crossed the bridge and was greeted by his loud apprentice, whose mocking remarks did little to deter her. Inside, she noticed web-like patterns on the walls, like a net of magic encasing the space. The wizard, seated at a table, appeared quiet, his eyes betraying a hint of curiosity. "Why have you come?" he asked, his tone short. Clara responded with respect, explaining that the villagers were willing to work but could not meet his demands. The wizard's expression turned bitter as he accused them of pretending and laziness. Clara stood her ground, using clear language to argue for fairness. Her words, though simple, carried truth, and even the fanatics among her neighbors began to trust her judgment. As negotiations began, the wizard's apprentice grew restless, his grumpy attitude making him a stubborn presence. When Clara presented a praiseworthy proposal, offering to share the village's abundant harvest in exchange for the charms, the apprentice hurled a taunt, calling her plan ridiculous. Yet, Clara remained firm, her resolve as strong as the unbreakable mountains surrounding the valley. The wizard, intrigued by her hard-working efforts, agreed to a discussion. In a meeting of magic and logic, Clara proposed the villagers would uphold their unalienable rights while respecting the wizard's talents. As the discussion continued, the apprentice's careless remarks and stubborn attitude began to wane, replaced by a grudging respect for Clara's courage. Meanwhile, back in the village, rumors of Clara's meeting spread. Some scandalous villagers accused her of betrayal, while others sang her praises. The ever-present whispers reached the ears of the loyal factions, leading to heated debates. Yet, Clara's absence had left a peaceful calm in the usually noisy square. When Clara returned, her agreement with the wizard was met with mixed reactions. The deal required the villagers to refrain from their overindulgent feasting and adopt a moderate lifestyle to ensure their resources were shared fairly. Though some defiant villagers grumbled, Clara's lively spirit inspired most to embrace the change. Months passed, and the village thrived. The energy of their collective effort transformed their once cold-hearted attitudes into one of community and trust. The fields, no longer false promises, bloomed with vibrant crops, and the village square became a place of joyful gatherings. Clara's actions left an unforgettable mark on their hearts. In the end, the wizard, now more calm, shared his magical essence with the village, ensuring prosperity for generations. His outdated tower became a place of learning, where mysterious texts were studied and endings of hope were written.